Good evening, I'm Bill Maley, Brighton Town Supervisor. I'd like to welcome you all to tonight's November 10th, 2021 meeting of the Brighton Town Board. We will begin the open forum portion of our meeting shortly, where members of the public will have the opportunity to share their comments with the town board. As we resume our remote meetings, which of course we have done to protect the safety of our community, the safety of everyone here at Town Hall, we continue to make all of our town board meetings accessible to the deaf and hard of hearing community, thanks to our ASL interpreters, Heather and Allie. Thank you so much, both of you, for being with us tonight. As a reminder, the agenda for tonight's meeting, as well as all the materials we are going to be reviewing as we make the decisions tonight, are all available on the Town of Brighton webpage, which is www.townofbrighton.org. So we'll start the meeting with a pledge to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We start every meeting with a pledge to the flag, but it's obviously especially appropriate today, the birthday of the Marine Corps, and tomorrow, Veterans Day. Veterans Day is a day to thank and to honor everyone who has served in our nation's armed forces. As we do each year, the Town of Brighton will hold our Veterans Day ceremony tomorrow, November 11th, at the Brighton Veterans Memorial in Buckland Park at 2 p.m. Each year, as part of our Veterans Day ceremony, the town honors a person or an organization that has made a special contribution to veterans in our community. This year, we are very proud to honor the Buffalo Soldiers presentation team of the Pennington Moy VFW Post 9251 in the city of Rochester. The Buffalo Soldiers presentation team has served as color guard for countless Brighton patriotic and other events, and it gives me great pleasure to be able to recognize their service as well as their commitment to telling the history of the Buffalo Soldiers. African-American soldiers who fought in the military after the Civil War, when African-Americans were first allowed to join the peacetime military. So I do invite the entire community to join us tomorrow, again, 2 p.m. at the Brighton Veterans Memorial, to honor all of our veterans, but specifically to recognize and honor the Buffalo Soldiers presentation team from Pennington Moy VFW Post. Of course, a week ago, Tuesday was Election Day. I want to give my appreciation to everyone that voted this year, to everyone that worked as an election inspector to make the election process go smoothly here in Brighton, and to all of the candidates who put their lives on hold. And you truly do put your lives on hold in so many ways to run for office. I want to thank each of those candidates. Win or lose, each candidate has helped keep our democracy strong and active by reminding people why it is important to vote in local elections as well as in the presidential and other elections. I'm proud to have been reelected to serve this wonderful community, and truly humbled to have the support of so many of you, and I know my colleagues here who were up this year feel the same. Finally, before we get started with the open forum, I want to discuss neighborhood street lighting issues, which have been a topic of discussion on social media but also very much a topic of attention here at Town Hall. Our neighborhood street lighting system with ornamental lighting fixtures, harp lamps in most neighborhoods, and those harp lamps have been designated by the Brighton Historic Preservation Commission as town landmarks, and also globe lamps in the Homeacres neighborhood. That street lighting system is owned by RG&E. People who live in neighborhoods that have the ornamental street lighting systems pay for their lights through a street lighting district. The charges appear on your tax bill in those neighborhoods. Many Brighton neighborhoods do not have street lights, and the logic behind using a street lighting district to pay for lights is that way only those neighborhoods that have street lights have to pay for them, rather than making them a town-wide charge. There is a procedure that can be used for neighborhoods that do not currently have street lights to petition to form a street lighting district. I will say it is an expensive process, installing not only the street light poles, but also the in-ground conduit, and then of course on an ongoing basis to pay for the electricity. But again, it is an amenity, and for communities, for neighborhoods in Brighton that are interested, I encourage you to reach out to the Department of Public Works to learn more. Now, over the years, there have been discussions about the town acquiring our neighborhood street lighting systems, but frankly, given the age of that system and the need for literally millions of dollars in capital expenditures to allow the system to be upgraded to LED lighting, that has made town acquisition simply not a viable option. However, over time, and likely beginning next year, RG&E is planning to upgrade its system, neighborhood by neighborhood. At this point, we don't have a precise schedule for when that work will begin or what the timeline will be, but it will be a multi-year process. It will involve significant underground work, but that work will allow the street lighting system to be converted to more energy efficient and cost-effective LED lighting. Now, we have seen, frankly, some significant delays in repairs to streetlights where the bulb has burned out. Now, we know that COVID has affected many services, and one reason that we know it's taken RG&E and their contractor longer to repair streetlight outages has been the impact of COVID. However, during the past 6 months, you may have noticed, and we have certainly noticed, that repairs to streetlights have taken longer to complete, in some cases much longer than they did in the past. We called in RG&E, and we've had several meetings with them in the past couple of weeks, both their operations people as well as their government relations people. And I do appreciate the work of RG&E's government relations staff, who does work very hard to communicate with the town. In those meetings, we learned several things. First, RG&E did affirm that COVID has been an issue affecting response time for repairs, but they also identified other issues. Earlier this year, RG&E changed their maintenance contractor. They hired a new contractor to do maintenance on their street lighting systems. That transition itself caused some delays in responding to reports of streetlight outages. Second, and related to the fact that they had a new contractor, is the fact that this new contractor sent crews down to New Orleans to respond to damage caused by Hurricane Ida at the end of August and into September. Now, I appreciate their desire to help alleviate the suffering caused by the hurricane in Louisiana and in neighboring states. But at the same time, it was really incumbent upon that contractor to make plans to timely address and perform under the terms of their contract with RG&E. And frankly, RG&E needed to make their plans to ensure that local maintenance on street lighting systems was still being done. That didn't happen, and outages have piled up in all of the Brighton neighborhoods that have ornamental street lighting. As I said, we had a series of meetings, and with our most recent meeting a week ago this past Monday, we've now begun to see a better response in repairing streetlights. Earlier today, I posted to the two Brighton neighborhood Facebook groups, the Brighton Neighbor Group and the new Brighton Neighbor Group, as well as the Meadowbrook Neighborhood Facebook group, a list of lights that RG&E reported to me that they had repaired last week. These repairs have addressed most, but not all, of the ongoing lamp outages in our neighborhoods. I've heard from folks today after I posted, and in some cases, some of the lights that were reported to have been fixed are either back out again or really didn't get fixed. What I can say is going forward, we will continue to monitor RG&E's performance closely. I encourage everyone to use the streetlight outage reporting link on the Town of Brighton webpage. Again, www.townofbrighton.org. To use that link to report a streetlight that's out, you're going to need the pole number, and you'll also need the street address where the pole is located. You can also call RG&E on the phone at 1-800-743-1701. Now, while getting the lights back on is our highest priority from a safety perspective, particularly, I've also asked our town attorney to review the RG&E street lighting tariff to determine whether the town, on behalf of our residents in those street lighting districts, have any recourse against RG&E as a result of these outages. The tariff is a very long and very complicated legal document. It's the product of a regulatory process that RG&E has with the Public Service Commission, the New York State Public Service Commission. But we do want to make sure we understand that tariff and what our rights are. So now we're going to begin our open forum, which we hold at the beginning of every town board meeting. If you have raised your hand to speak through the Zoom system, you will be called on one by one and unmuted. As always, I ask speakers to limit your remarks to 3 minutes. I will give you a 30-second warning before your time expires. Our goal here tonight and during the open forum held at every town board meeting is to give you the opportunity to share your thoughts with the board and for us to listen to your words. Therefore, please direct your remarks to the town board and not to the room or other speakers. Please refrain from personal attacks and from outbursts of any kind out of respect for the speakers and for the time of everyone here tonight. So we will start with the open forum, and Bridget, if you would unmute our first speaker. And again, if you would please state your name and if you would please, your address when you begin to speak.
Our first speaker is Carol Crost.
Carol, good evening.
Can you hear me? Can you hear
Yes.
me? Okay.
Yes, we can.
All right. I would like, Bill, if I could give my 3 minutes time to one of the other speakers. Her name is Meyer Nyer, and is that possible for me?
You know, Carol, we're really asking people. We're calling people, and we would like people to, you know, speak in the order that they're called. It simply delays it. It makes the process take longer. So if you would, please, if you have remarks, please share them with us now.
All right. All of you have heard abortion referred to as genocide during these last 5 months that we have been addressing the board. And the question was raised, is it genocide? If you look up in the dictionary, genocide synonyms in the Webster Dictionary is wholesale slaughter, mass homicide, extermination of human beings. But genocide is rarely defined in accurate terms by the oppressor, right? I mean, it's only historically that we call genocide by its accurate term. For instance, in the killing fields of Cambodia in the 1970s, when an estimated 1 million were slaughtered, the government called it reduction campaign. It sounds really kind of nice, doesn't it? In Rwanda, the Hutus who annihilated 800,000 Tutsis called it an ethnic reconciliation. That was really very creative. The slaughter at Wounded Knee was called land repossession. You all remember that. But by far, one of the greatest genocides was the extermination of 10 million people, mostly Jews, by the Nazis. The Nazis did not call this a Holocaust, because if you look up the definition of a Holocaust, it's a mass burning, isn't it? No, they didn't call it that. Hitler actually called it benevolently in a letter in September of 1939. He called it, quote, extending the authority of physicians, unquote, for emergency defense measures. You might be surprised to know that abortion was actually permissible in Germany, but only for Jewish women. It was not a right that Aryan women had. Mengele, who was the angel of death, hid in Argentina for a number of years. And you might have remembered in the 90s that New York Times headline that shouted out that Mengele was a practicing abortionist in Buenos Aires.
You have 30 seconds left, Carol.
Thank you. A trade he knew well. So I think that, you know, we hear that, you know, abortionists today are called women's maternity specialists or practitioners of reproductive care. It is this kind of manipulation that really promotes and allows genocide. Thank you.
Our next speaker.
I'm going to deviate from what has been our normal practice, because I find it absolutely revolting to compare abortion to the Holocaust of the Jews, to the Holocaust in Rwanda. I am absolutely, Carol, I've known you for a long time, and I know how passionately you feel about this subject, but I find that comparison to be absolutely inapplicable and revolting, and an insult to Jews, an insult to people from Rwanda, an insult to people from Cambodia. I cannot let those comparisons stand. We'll go to our next speaker now.
Our next speaker is Dorothy.
Dorothy, please state your name and address.
My name is Dorothy Hayes, and I would prefer not to give my address.
That's fine.
And I think, I understand your reaction to Carol's comments, but I also, quick before I say my comments, it's because you don't understand the humanity of the unborn. And what I wanted to get across tonight is to reconsider your approval to Planned Parenthood, exactly because these are human beings that are being destroyed. As a feminist, as a Christian, as a human being, I find abortion not only offensive, but criminal. As a feminist, abortion, it sends the message that there's something wrong with pregnancy. There's something wrong with a pregnant woman. And that's the one thing that really makes us uniquely feminine. And that to be successful, you have to deny your motherhood and you have to kill your child. And that to me is, it's not for women and it's not for society. Abortion allows us to ignore the issues that bring women to Planned Parenthood, the sex trafficking, the abuse, the myriad of social pressures. And as one man said, it makes sense to be pro-choice when you're a non-chaste male. Again, a domination over women. Abortion allows the partner in society to ignore the responsibility of the future and place it squarely on the woman. Abortion doesn't support her, it doesn't change her circumstances, and it adds the weight of guilt that plays out in all sorts of unhealthy ways and that lasts a lifetime. As a Christian, it's pretty obvious. Thou shalt not kill. Science makes it clear, as stated by the American College of Pediatricians, life begins at conception. At 6 weeks after conception, a baby can respond to touch. 8 weeks, everything's in place. 11 weeks, sleep cycles are starting and she can smile. 12 weeks, she can swallow and suck her thumb. And if you can't see that that's a child, then you're not going to be able to see Christ. Abortion destroys the physical manifestation of love. It ends innocent life, and that's a great offense to God. As a human being, abortion events my sense of justice and compassion. Legal abortion tells us that being human isn't enough. It's not that you are, that you exist, that it's important. It's what category you fit into. Abortion is racist. It's inherently discriminatory. If you don't happen to fit into the right category, society says it has the power to kill you.
30 seconds, please.
We look back through history at horrid societies and cultures that abuse their power against the defenseless. Have you considered any of these points, or are you blindly following Planned Parenthood's rhetoric? You have an opportunity here to affect real substantial change, to try an approach that truly respects women, men, mothers, and fathers in our children. As a board, you have the responsibility to really look into Planned Parenthood and abortion, and you absolutely have the right to deny Planned Parenthood access to Brighton. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Scott.
Go ahead, Scott. If you would, please state your name, and if you would, your address, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
My name is Scott Davis, and I'm at 32 Vinton, Vinton Road, like the singer. And that's Rochester, New York, 14622. I am totally blind, and for those of you who do not know me, I am totally blind. And back in 1972, we did not have the technology like there is today, where if a woman came into Planned Parenthood, they wouldn't be able to know back then that there would be, a person who's blind in the womb. And they would say to my parents, well, you would need to abort him because he's blind. And thank God that they never aborted me, because I work over at the Association for the Blind, 27 years of bliss. And it really is bliss. But let me say it this way. When a woman goes into Planned Parenthood, she is blind. And I have a cell phone which talks to me. And I did some research on birth control and contraception. And one of the big side effects is breast and cervical cancer. But cervical cancers are very minimal cases. But breast cancer is a major case. And Planned Parenthood is a big cause of breast cancer to women, which kills women, not only the babies, but the moms as well. And every Thursday night, when I am at the Blue Army, we always pray the prayer to bless them, not only for the babies, but the moms who died at the hands of Planned Parenthood, the evil clinic, because it is evil. And, we need to think about that, because both places are no good and they need to close immediately. I thank the town supervisor Moyer, or whatever you want me to call you, and the board for allowing me this time to speak. I've been having several issues with Zoom, but this is my very first time. Thank you.
Thank you, Scott. Next speaker.
Our next speaker is Meyer Nyer.
Myra, please go ahead if you would, state your name and if you would, your address, please.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, good evening. My name is Meyer Nyer. I also prefer not to give out my address. I actually worked at a Planned Parenthood for 1 year. After witnessing quadruplets lose their lives to the evil that is abortion, I left the abortion industry. I actually watched 4 babies lose their life to abortion. I watched an African-American female be coerced to get an abortion, and Planned Parenthood did nothing but stand by and allow it. I thought that working there, it would be a great opportunity for me to help women. But Planned Parenthood only cares about meeting their quota. Their bottom line is abortion. All they do is abortion. As a counselor there, my only job, and I will repeat, my only job there was to convince the patient to get an abortion. It didn't matter what was going on in the person's life. I wasn't to ask any questions. My only job was to make sure they signed that paper for that abortion. Women experience things in temporary circumstances, but they are stronger than their temporary circumstances. However, Planned Parenthood takes that temporary circumstance and where that woman is the most vulnerable, and instead of empowering that woman, what they do is they use that to make that woman think that it's impossible for her to carry this child and care for it. I honestly would ask for you to reconsider allowing a Planned Parenthood in your community. And the reason why is because we need more resource centers. These women are in a crisis pregnancy, so what better way than to give them the resources they need instead of them feeling like the only way out is to murder their babies in the womb. Planned Parenthood is a billion-dollar organization. They make their money on the backs of us, the taxpayers. I, as a taxpayer, do not want the blood of innocent children on my conscience.
30
nor
seconds,
do I
please.
want to pay for it. So I do ask for you to reconsider. I am a Hispanic woman, and I'm asking you to reconsider to not allow Planned Parenthood to continue to murder people like me. Our future presidents, our future scientists, our future is being murdered by Planned Parenthood. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Nicole Morrison.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. My name is Nicole Morrison. I too will keep my address private. I would like to read some stats to you. First off, did you know that, sorry, I was reading the screen. Did you know that abortion is the #1 killer in the Black community, higher than AIDS, violent crimes, accidents, cancer, and heart disease combined? African Americans are disproportionately impacted by abortion. While representing only 13% of the female population in the US, Black women account for 35% of the nation's abortions. That's from the CDC. Planned Parenthood, the largest abortion provider in the country, targets African Americans by locating 62%, that's approximately 2 out of every 3, of their surgical abortion centers in Black and minority communities. Many people do not know that since 1973, the year that abortion was legalized in the US, more African American babies have been killed by abortion than the number of African American deaths from all other causes combined. That's from the U.S. Center for Disease and Control and the Guttmacher Institute, which is Planned Parenthood's own research arm. As someone who works for a ministry called And Then There Were None, we're found on www.abortionworker.com. You can read stories from other former abortion workers. I am a client manager with the ministry, and I have close to 95 of the almost 600 former abortion workers who have come through our ministry as clients. We take stats on our clients' stories, and I will tell you one of the stats that I have found to be profound is that 37% of our clients report having suicidal thoughts. The national average, in case you didn't know, is just 4%. With our ministry, we now have 4 licensed counselors on staff. This is because the people who work inside these clinics need support and counseling, professional licensed counseling when they quit. Working at an abortion clinic is not like working at a grocery store or a shopping mall. This is the most inhumane place any person can possibly work.
30 seconds, please.
My message to you today is, while abortion is a major political topic, my appeal to you is that you understand that women deserve better than abortion. These are your future citizens in your area, in our area, and I ask that you reconsider and you understand that when you see a child walking down the street, that mother may have been in a situation where she could have chosen abortion, and that child is alive today because her mother chose life.
Time. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Our next speaker is Kelly Brunicini.
Kelly, if you would share your name and your address, please, with us.
Hi, my name's Kelly Brunicini. I'd like to keep my address private, please. Thank you to the town board. I'd like to read a letter written by the people at Feminists Choosing Life of New York in support of brave Brighton residents against violence. Dear friends in the Westfall Clinton medical community, you may have read the recent news reports about IVF fertility specialist and abortionist Morris Wortman, whose office is at 2020 South Clinton Ave. He is accused of secretly impregnating at least one of his IVF patients with his own sperm. Allegations of his gross and misogynistic behavior have garnered local and national media attention. As a pro-life feminist organization who supports ethical reproduction and the protection of the life of both women and children, we find the abominable conduct of this physician's practice a dereliction of the medical profession's oath of ethics. Feminist organizations, particularly in Brighton, spoke out as early as 1999 against abortions and abuses in fertility treatment at the 2020 South Clinton Ave facility. As one of the many upstanding healthcare providers in Brighton, Planned Parenthood's selection of this location should be cause for concern. Morris's alleged illegal practices, coupled with Planned Parenthood's life-giving mission, detract from your healing work and taint the town where you see patients and offer health and wellness to the community. In addition, by Planned Parenthood's own admission in the New York Times on April 17, 2021, their organization was founded on racist principles. Employees say their racist ideology continues there today. Abuses to women at their most vulnerable in the name of profit will not be tolerated. You can help by contacting Brave Residents Against Violence Incorporated. Thank you. This ends the letter, but I think I have time for a quick comment. This past summer, a friend of mine tried to drop by her son's pediatrician's office in Brighton. To her surprise, the office was closed and locked. On inquiry, my friend learned from the doctor that on hearing that Planned Parenthood was trying to locate within the medical park, decided to retire. As a healer of children, he didn't want to practice near killers of children. I suspect if Planned Parenthood assumes this location permanently, this doctor won't be the last to leave for this reason. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Ladden is the next speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Scott Layden. I'm at 258 Hollywood Avenue. I want to thank Bill, you as well as your team for the work you've done on behalf of the Lighting District, Meadowbrook in particular. I know it's been a challenging initiative, and clearly we've gotten some good progress out of it. So thank you and your team for all of that. My question would be this: can we get a timeline from the attorney for a report on his review of the tariff in a summary form that details the obligations upon RG&E for the maintenance, monitoring, and repair of the lights in a timely fashion? So what does the tariff require in terms of service level metrics? And when might we see that report from the attorney, as I said, in summary form? And that concludes my comment and my question.
Thank you, Mr. Layden. I'm not sure that either the town attorney or I can give you an estimate as to when that might be. It is a long, very legal document. But so I at this point, I really can't answer your question, but I appreciate your kind words.
Do you think we're talking weeks, months, years? What's the general construct here?
He will be reviewing it in a timely manner. I can tell you that, you know, that obviously there's a lot going on. This is an important matter. And as soon as he's able to do that, he and I will discuss it, and we'll see where, you know, where the matter proceeds from there.
Is the tariff available to the public as a matter of public information, freedom of information?
If you would like to file a freedom of information request, we'll respond to that.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes my request.
Thank you very much. Next speaker, please.
Michael Safran is the next speaker.
Thank you. Michael Safran, 27-year West Brighton resident, 57-year Brighton resident. I was comfortably watching YouTube with no intention of speaking tonight. But for the supervisor, apparently it's rules for thee and not for me. So I want to say your remark to Carol Cross, Mr. Supervisor, was completely out of line. 2 weeks ago, I spoke of the supervisor's arrogance, and tonight we've witnessed it. It's a demonstration of simple arrogance that I spoke of 2 weeks ago. Re-election apparently has only emboldened Mr. Maley and his sense of arrogance and privilege. As Mrs. Hayes, I believe it was, suggested in the follow-up remark, you are the one that does not understand the true distortion that is fostered by this culture of death brought about largely by Planned in recent times. So my remark is in support of Carol Cross, and to this board, you will hear from citizens, not only about Planned Parenthood, which is a major issue, as you know. You will hear from us about your arrogance. So be on notice about that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Abby Johnson.
Hello, my name is Abby Johnson. I'm not going to give out my address for privacy purposes. I'm a former director of a Planned Parenthood facility and worked there for 8 years. I find it interesting that anyone would find it revolting to compare abortion with the Jewish Holocaust, the Cambodian genocide, or slavery. All of these tragedies are allowed to take place because these particular groups of people were treated as subhuman and were treated as second-class citizens. But the reason they were killed is because the general population didn't see them as fully human and fully valuable. And that's exactly how our population views the preborn in the womb today. These tragedies are actually completely comparable. There are a few facts that I really would like you to know about Planned Parenthood. Number one, they have quotas for abortion procedures. The staff are rewarded and given bonuses for the amount of abortions that they actually sell to women. Number two, according to Planned Parenthood's own reports, preventative healthcare services such as birth control, well, women exams, and STI testing and treatment has plummeted by more than 70% over the past 10 years. Planned Parenthood is focused on abortion and abortion alone. They are now opening up facilities that only provide abortions full-time, 6 days a week, and no other services. Number three, Planned Parenthood regularly fails inspection reports, state inspections. According to the publicly available inspection reports that we have received through FOIA, in over 70% of the failed inspections, these centers failed to sterilize the instruments that were being used woman to woman. These are the instruments that were being put inside the bodies of women to perform abortion procedures. That is unsafe, unsterile, and that is not appropriate women's health care. I got involved with Planned Parenthood many years ago because I wanted to help women. And after being there for 8 years, I realized that if I really wanted to help women, the only way I could do so was to leave this corrupt and disgusting organization. Planned Parenthood hurts women each and every day. They are not only killing preborn children, literally killing them, but they are also literally killing their mothers. Thank you for your time.
I will say it again. I find the suggestion comparing this Planned Parenthood clinic to the Holocaust, to slavery, to be revolting.
I find your ignorance revolting.
Next speaker, please.
The next speaker is Cecilia.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm relieved to hear you addressing us tonight because I was actually calling in to say that it troubles me that you don't ever respond to us, that we've been calling and emailing and showing up for months now, and it's been crickets. We never get any sort of response at all. And so I at least am glad that you're willing to engage us now, because the silence that this board has expressed, what it says to me is that if there was nothing that you could do about this, you would have told us that months ago. If there's nothing you could do about Planned Parenthood being here, you would have said, I'm glad to hear from all of you, but there's really nothing we can do about this, but you haven't said that. So the fact that means to us that you possibly could do something about it, and that justifies our continued presence here. And it really justifies us asking for you to provide really a public statement on behalf of the board as to why you agree with and endorse Planned Parenthood's presence in Brighton. And then I just wanted to offer another way that maybe you could look at this to understand our perspective, which is that, later term abortions account for about 1% of all abortions. And so a lot of times they're dismissed as irrelevant to the conversation, but they're relevant here because the further along in pregnancy a woman is, the easier it is to see the humanity of that child. And while 1% doesn't seem like it's a lot of children, when we're talking about roughly a million abortions a year since Roe, slightly less in the last few years, thankfully, that's a number that's around 10 to 15,000. And you can look that up through the CDC or through Guttmacher. That's the number, okay? And you can also find from both of those organizations that the reasons that women choose later term abortions are actually pretty much the same for the earlier abortions. And so they're not medically necessary. They're overwhelmingly electively chosen procedures. And so 10 to 15,000 a year is a number that rivals homicides by guns. And if you look at the way that these procedures are done, and keep in mind, now viability is around 22 weeks. And if you're looking at a baby in a NICU, and the nurse comes in and pricks their heel to draw blood, the baby cries. Okay, so that just gives you an indication of like, this is a child. These are children, no different than children in NICUs. Okay, and you can look up in New York State the methods by which they perform these abortions on these children. They induce massive heart attacks. In a minority of cases, they still use saline solutions, which scald the baby to death. They still overwhelmingly do dilation and evacuation, which involves dismemberment of children while they're still alive in the womb. And so while, you know, you're more offended by the comparison to the Holocaust and the practice itself, I mean, if you actually understood what is happening, just even at 10 to 15,000 times a year, which is opposed by huge numbers of people in this country.
30 seconds, please.
You know, if you actually looked at these practices, you understand, like, for many of these children, they can, I mean, this is their fate, and they can clearly, they experience that horrible violence. And then for the children that are unaware of their demise, I mean, just because someone doesn't know something's being done to them, it doesn't make it okay to do it. I mean, there's many.
Time, please. Thank you.
Well, we'll be back. Thank you.
Next speaker, please.
Bob Gluck is the next speaker.
Go ahead, Mr. Gluck.
Hey, Bill, I'm not going to tell you my address because you know where I live. You send me a tax bill every, semi-annually. I wasn't really planning on getting on tonight. I was watching YouTube until you kind of lifted up out of the seat to correct Carol's comment comparing the genocide of innocent babies to the Holocaust. And you apologized and you got all excited and, your veins were popping out of your head. And wow, I never saw you get such a rise. Hey, Bill, I'm a Jew. Abortion is genocide. Abortion is a Holocaust. Do me a favor. Don't apologize on my behalf as a Jew, okay? I know who you are. I know what you believe. The only apology you should be placing is to the Jews of Brighton and those Christians in solidarity with Israel for the fact that you have an anti-Semite sitting on the board. See ya.
Next speaker, please.
There are no more speakers.
Thank you, Bridget. We will then continue on with the business portion of our meeting. And can I have a motion to approve tonight's agenda?
Bill, I move we approve the agenda.
Second, Robin.
Thank you, Robin. Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. Public hearings are next. We have 3 public hearings tonight, 2 of which relate to traffic control, and 1 is a tree removal, which is the first item tonight. We are going to hold this public hearing. However, there was an issue with the notice postcards that are under our law supposed to be sent to nearby residents were not sent. So we're going to hold the public hearing tonight. If there is someone that is here that would like to address the town board concerning the tree removal, they can do so. But we will continue this public hearing at our first town board meeting in December, which will be December 8th at 7 p.m. But otherwise, understanding that those postcards weren't mailed, I'll ask the town clerk if legal notice was otherwise given in the matter.
Yes, Supervisor. Legal notice was printed in the October 27th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you. Then I declare this public hearing to be open. Is there anyone here that would like to address the proposed tree removal at 50? Well, before I do that, let me ask our Commissioner of Public Works, Mike Guyon, to address this tree and the material that's in your packet.
Thank you, Supervisor. The tree is located at 58 Terrytown. It's one of the large silver maples that we've been discussing lately that tend to fail without warning. We conducted a report. You can see from the report that the tree is not in great shape and does need to come down. It was presented to both the Public Works Committee and the Tree Council. Both were agreed that the tree should be removed. New tree will be planted. So we'll again be at the next, or probably not the next meeting, but the first meeting in December, where we review this tree again.
Thank you, Mike. Is there anyone who would like to address the town board concerning the proposed removal at 58 Terrytown Road? Hearing none, then we will continue this public hearing at 7 p.m. on December 8th, 2021, or as soon thereafter as we can convene the public hearing. And following that, I anticipate we will make a decision. So we will move on to the next matter of the proposed traffic control signage along Templeton Road at the intersection of Templeton and Claiborne Road. And I'll start by asking the town clerk, has the necessary legal notice been provided in this matter?
Yes, Supervisor. This matter was also published in the October 27th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you. And again, I'll ask Mike Ion, wearing his highway superintendent hat, if you would comment on this, please.
Sure. Thank you, Supervisor. Claiborne Road is part of our bicycle boulevard. And most of the roads along that bicycle boulevard have four-way stops, with the exception of Templeton. Along Templeton does not have a stop sign, which does create the situation where someone may enter that intersection thinking it's a four-way stop. The intent of these two stop signs, both on southbound and northbound Templeton, is to create a four-way stop and make the bicycle boulevard safe.
Thanks, Mike. Is there anyone here to comment on the public hearing for the proposed traffic control signs, the stop signs on Templeton at the intersection with Claiborne Road?
Bill, if I might, I'm quite familiar with this intersection and have biked on it many times on that bicycle boulevard. And yes, it would benefit by having a stop sign on Templeton and Claiborne, making it a four-way stop. That would be quite appropriate.
Thank you, Chris. Is there anyone else that wishes to comment on the proposed traffic control sign? Hearing none, I declare this public hearing to be closed, and I'll ask Councilmember Warner to make this motion.
Thank you for that, Bill. With respect to the proposed traffic control signage along Templeton Road at the intersection with Claiborne, I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second, Christine.
Thank you. Any further discussion, by members of the town board on this matter? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Warner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mailey.
Aye. And finally, the last public hearing tonight is the proposed speed limit reduction along Rowland Parkway from Clover Street, the entire length of Rowland down to the cul-de-sac. And I'll ask again, the town clerk, has the necessary legal notice been provided in this matter?
Yes, Supervisor. This notice as well was printed in the October 27th edition of the Daily Record.
Thank you. Then I declare this public hearing to be open, and I'll turn one third time to Mike Ion for just a little background on this.
Yeah, real quick. Thank you again. Currently, the speed limit on Rowland Parkway is 30 miles per hour. Legally, we can reduce those speed limits to 25 miles per hour with town board action. The Rollins Parkway does serve the Council Rock School. There's a cul-de-sac at the end. We would like to make that speed limit 25 miles per hour to improve the safety of the folks along that street, anybody walking to that school.
Thank you, Mike. Is there anyone that would like to address the town board on this public hearing, reducing the speed limit on Rowland Parkway? Hearing none, then I declare this public hearing to be closed. Christine, I'll ask for a motion, please.
Very happy to do so. Regarding the matter of the speed limit reduction along Roland Parkway from Clover Street to the cul-de-sac, I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Can I have a second?
Jason.
Jason, thank you. We have a motion and a second to reduce that speed limit. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Next item on the agenda are committee reports with the Community Services Committee first. Robin.
Thank you, Bill. The Community Services Committee has not met in the intervening timeframe since our last town board meeting. I do, however, have some updates for the community from our Parks and Recreation Department heads. From our Recreation Department, even though we are well into the fall program season, there are still new classes starting. We ask that you check out the full listing of programs online. Registration is available at www.townofbrighton.org. Work continues on the Town of Brighton Community Center feasibility study. Stay tuned for announcements of upcoming public workshops where you can learn more about the progress achieved on the feasibility study and weigh in with your feedback on our community vision for a community center and recreation options. More details about the community center feasibility study can also be found on the town website. Again, www.townofbrighton.org. Friday with Frosty on the Go, the Zoom party will be on Friday, December 10th. Craft pickup will be on Wednesday, December 8th. So please do join us as we continue our Friday with Frosty tradition from the safety of your own home. What could be better than seeing Frosty the Snowman, making crafts with your kids, and partying in your PJs from your living room on Zoom. New projects are available for 2021. Full details and registration are online.
And if that event is anything like last year, when you come by to pick up your craft, you may just get a glimpse of Frosty himself.
Pretty cool.
Or herself.
Our Brighton Farmers Market continues to be outdoors at the Brighton High School parking lot. It is on Sundays, from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. through November 21st. And then we will transition to the extended outdoor season. And the hours for that season are 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And those dates are November 28th through December 19th. The Town of Brighton Grab and Go Senior Meal Program continues. Brighton seniors continue to provide grab and go style meals each week. This highly used service is still available. You can order ahead packaged meal. They are available from seniors age 60 and over. Meal pickup is at the Brookside Recreation Center. So please contact us for full program details or to place your order. The number to call is 585-784-5260, extension 0. The Recreation Department would like to remind you that if you have a program idea or a skill that you'd like to share with our community, you can contact the Recreation Department to find out how to be added as a program instructor. Complete the new program proposal on our website or give the Recreation Department a call at 585-784-5260, extension 0. Sorry about that. From our Parks Department, the park water was turned off on November 1st. So outdoor restrooms are now closed for the season. And that is why we had this bout of good weather. All athletic fields were also closed on November 1st. Park staff has been getting a lot of extra trail maintenance work done with the extended nice weather. Staff has been able to aerate and oversee all of the athletic fields. So this will give the town a head start on spring field preparation. Staff has finally been able to ease up on trail and park mowing for the season and are prepared for the imminent turn in weather, at which time they'll be taking on many indoor projects like painting, light and ballast replacement, and various and sundry carpentry projects. The next meeting of the Community Services Committee will be next Wednesday, November 17th at 9:30 a.m. That meeting will be at the Brookside Recreation Center in the multi-purpose room. As always, members of the public are invited to attend. We will be masking and adhering to occupancy standards. So if you do have an interest in attending, we ask that you contact the Recreation Department. Again, that number is 585-784-5260 to let us know that you will be joining us so that we can safely accommodate everyone. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thanks, Robin. Finance and Administrative Services Committee, Jason.
Yes, Bill, the Finance and Administrative Services Committee met last Wednesday, November 3rd. Each of the items that were discussed in our committee meeting appear on tonight's town board agenda and will be discussed and voted on in more detail. Our next meeting will be held on Tuesday, November 16th. We meet at 3:30 in the afternoon in the main auditorium at Town Hall, and the public is invited to attend.
Thanks very much. Public Safety Committee, Christine.
Yes, Public Safety met just yesterday morning. We were, let's see, in open forum, residents from Virginia Colony addressed the committee with concerns about traffic in the neighborhood, particularly speeding, rolling through stop signs, and ignoring the requirement to stop at T intersections, even if no stop sign is posted. Also concerns about traffic coming from the 12 Corners Plaza and some aggressive driving by trash collectors. They noted that the lack of sidewalks and the fact that the neighborhood falls within the BCSD walk zone for middle school and high school students raises their concerns about safety for people of all ages on the streets, but especially children. Brighton Police Department will assign a special patrol and will collect traffic data. And I'll be following up with the neighbors for a walkthrough to see if we can explore other traffic calming options, including perhaps pursuing the establishment of a refuse district to reduce truck traffic through the neighborhood, sidewalk districts, and other traffic calming measures. Brighton Ambulance provided an update for activities for the calendar year 2021 through October. They responded to a total of 662 requests for service throughout the month of September, the total of 461 being within the Brighton Ambulance District. A total of 165 requests for mutual aid were received for surrounding ambulance districts, and of those 195 requests, BVA responded to 43. The total Brighton volunteer ambulance requests for service up through October 31st is 5,931, which represents an increase of 21% over last year's volume. The Code 32 reserve policy was applied 25 times in the month of September. Of those 25 occasions, BVA staff were able to respond to 10 calls within the district that otherwise would have been assigned to mutual aid, showing an efficacy of 40%. And on staffing news, Deputy Chief Tucker Kostich will be stepping down to part-time status. Brighton Fire Department reports that they have responded to approximately 1,925 calls year to date. They also have staffing news. Rick Tracy, a longtime Brighton Fire Department member, will be retiring effective March 30th of next year. And other unfortunate news, the modified open house, which the Brighton Fire Department had announced to take place at the farmer's market last week had to be canceled or 2 weeks ago, I apologize, had to be canceled due to weather. Public Works provided an update on paving projects at Ashburn, Hillside, and Remington. So paving is complete for this season. Leaf collection is now underway, and I'm sure that Supervisor Maley will have a few words to say about that later in the meeting. Let's see, and as of this coming Friday, November 12th, Public Works will start night watch, which means that there will be someone at the Highway Department garage 24/7, ready to respond to weather-related challenges, seasonal challenges. Brighton Police Department reports that calls for service are just short of 40,000 year to date. Unfortunately, the data systems are not talking to one another well as the systems switch over, and we're not able to present year over year comparison data. However, the chief does report that burglaries appear to be at about the same level as previous years. Larcenies have increased modestly, and the largest increase is in the theft of catalytic converters. We all had a lesson in precious metals and what catalytic converters yield for the thieves. Rhodium, is it, Chief Catholi? Did you confirm with the Google that it is rhodium?
I didn't confirm with Google, but I'm pretty sure it's rhodium.
Yeah, so thieves are out and about sawing catalytic converters out for scrap value, which apparently is quite high. There are efforts underway at the county level and perhaps at the state level to adopt legislation that will help with identification for catalytic converters, hopefully thwarting some of the sale of those stolen catalytic converters for scrap. There's related in thievery, there's been a recent uptick in shoplifting, both here and nationally at corner stores like CVS stores. Some have security on site in Brighton, others are getting special attention from the police. They're crimes of opportunity. The last note from the Brighton Police Department is other crimes of opportunities are continuing, and that is thefts from unlocked parked vehicles. The chief reminds you, I remind you, we all remind you, don't forget to double check and lock your car if it is parked outside, especially at night. No report from the Rochester Fire Department. In matters of old business, the issues, the focus on school speed limits continues. The Brighton Safe Streets for All group will be meeting soon to continue to focus on review of school speed zone limits and reviewing the schedule of streets so that we can continue to do things like the reduction of speed on Roland Parkway and throughout the town. The matter of children at play sign on Brittany Circle is on hold until spring. We're still struggling to find the optimal solution that fits with the manual of uniform traffic control devices and the needs of the neighborhood. In the meantime, if you're on Brittany Circle, please drive carefully. It's a very tight little street with lots of children, and high speed is just inappropriate there. The last matter of old business was residents seeking a deaf child sign on Chelmsford Road. Commissioner of Public Works has researched that and will be able to place the sign as soon as they have documentation from the family, which is underway. And with that, the next meeting is Tuesday, December 14th at 8 a.m. If members of the public have any concerns, they're welcome to email me or any members of the committee or contact us by phone. Information about the committee can be found at townofbrighton.org/public safety. I have one side note. related to public safety, especially pedestrian safety. Next week, Wednesday, November 17th, Reconnect Rochester will be presenting the Rochester Street Films installment for this year. The title rather is Silent Epidemic: The Growing Number of Pedestrian Injuries and Deaths on Our Streets. Not a very cheerful topic, but a really important one. It's really relevant considering the increase in driving speeds and driving style during the pandemic, and the literal intersection of that with people being more often out and about on the streets, walking or biking. If you attend, whether you attend in person or join by live stream, you will hear some very exciting news about the Complete Streets Makeover contest and winners. And hint, hint, you'll hear some exciting news about the Complete Streets Makeover that may, in fact, touch Brighton. So I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder and burst any bubbles by giving anything away, but hint, hint, join by live stream or come down to the little theater. You can take the bus downtown, hop on the 11 and get off at South Union Street. All right. And that is all. Thank you.
Thanks, Christine. That 24-hour winter hotline, 784-5370. In case, with winter weather, if there are issues that arise, someone will pick up that phone 24/7 through the cold weather months. Okay, and last, the Public Works Committee.
Thanks,
Chris.
Bill. We met yesterday at 9 o'clock following the public safety meeting, and we had quite an extended meeting.
You met and you met and you met and you met yesterday.
It was a very busy meeting. We started with a resident who came in expressing concerns about our town's tree removal process and had a concern about a tulip tree that he thought was having difficulty on Pelham. But Commissioner Guyan's looking at that tree to see if it really requires the whole hearing process. In fact, it may not be a significant tree. Do you have a chance yet to look at that, Mike, or no?
Yeah, Chris, yeah, it's since the diameter, I think is 28 inches, it does not qualify as a significant tree. So there will not be a need for a public hearing, just notification to the neighbors.
All right, but so a more expedited process for that review. Great.
Right.
Commissioner reported that we got 12 bids on the town hall renovation RFP, and the town staff is reviewing the different bids. It's great to get so many interested contractors. The Jewish Senior Life folks came in and presented a project that had originally been approved. Well, the project there at the Jewish Senior Life had been approved in 1996 as an incentive zoning project. And they're proposing some modifications to that approval, which would include the construction of 2 4-story buildings that house an additional 35 units each with parking beneath. Town staff will work with the applicant to identify the incentives necessary for the project. And as far as amenities go, they are proposing a cash contribution sufficient to install sidewalks along Winton Road. From the extension of the sidewalk from the Jewish Senior Life project on Winton, as far as the sidewalk goes, and then up to the Brighton ambulance property. That would be a nice addition, but the committee members requested the applicant also consider the extension of sidewalks along Westfall Road. Again, these would provide linkages to the Jewish Senior Life project itself, and would really enhance our sidewalk connections. Next steps would include an application to the town to determine first whether the modifications to the incentive zoning project are worthy of consideration, and we expect to see that soon. That'd be the very first step in the consideration of that project. Also, the folks from Buckingham Property came in with with the Winfield Park subdivision project, which first was considered as an incentive zoning application in 2015. As we were nearing the conclusion of the seeker process, In 2015, it was developed, or it was determined that there was an outstanding issue regarding utility service to the site, which stalled the project. The applicant indicates that that's now been resolved and they're ready to proceed with the modified project. The site is approximately 133 acres and is currently zoned residential and technology office park. The applicant is requesting the use of incentive zoning to modify the zoning to permit or to include planned unit development, low intensity commercial and technology office park. The proposed project would include 30 single family homes, 24 townhomes, 190 apartment units at market rate, 308 affordable housing units, 38,000 square feet of commercial space and 5,000 square feet of office building and 500,000 square feet of flexible space. Town staff will work with the applicant to identify the necessary incentives for that project, and the amenities they're proposing would include extending the sanitary sewer to South Clinton and eliminating the Brighton Meadows pump station. It would also include extending the public sewer to the existing properties along South Clinton and Brighton Henrietta Town Line Road. And next, we had a presentation regarding the South Winton Road Gas Main Replacement Project. The proposed project includes the replacement of the gas main, a 16-inch gas main, which is over 70 years old, located beneath Winton Road from Newton Road to the city line. That's in front of the high school, all the way down almost to Palmerston Road on Winton. This is a significant project. The project is anticipated to last 6 months, and the New York State Department of Transportation and Monroe County Department of Transportation have requested that a portion of the work be completed during the night on this busy stretch of roadway. The committee requested that the work at night be limited to the commercial area, and they'll need to request that the town board amend the noise ordinance to permit night work. The New York State DOT and County DOT are requiring that the entire roadway be milled and paved following the installation of the gas main, which would be underneath the roadway. And the committee indicated this is an opportunity to make some striping modifications, such as a left turn lane from southbound Winton onto Monroe, and possibly left turn lane on northbound Winton onto Monroe. The committee also indicated that the applicant should contact the Brighton Central School District to discuss opportunities to mitigate disruption of the school. There was also a discussion of the 2021 cannabis local law amendment, and we reviewed the proposed changes to that amendment, to that cannabis law and the amendment. We also discussed that on August 26th, a large branch of a silver maple failed at 111 St. Regis Drive North, and a visual inspection of the area revealed that there were several other old silver maples in similar condition. And we contacted the town arborist to evaluate the silver maples in the area and concluded that there are several trees that should be removed. And these trees were presented to the tree council, and a public hearing will be needed to be held prior to their removal. They include 44 St. Regis, a 40-inch silver maple, 4 40-inch silver maples at 87 St. Regis North, and a 50-inch silver maple at 144 St. Regis, and another 50-inch silver maple at 197 Mayflower. And after those 2 hours of discussion, the meeting was adjourned, and our next meeting will be December 7, 2021. And the public is always invited and encouraged to attend. Thanks.
Thanks, Chris. I just want to clarify one number, because I think you said 500,000 square feet of
flexible space.
Flexible space. I believe they were proposing 5 buildings of 50,000 each.
I think on their worksheet bill, it said 5 buildings of 100,000 each.
Oh, did they? Okay, all right. Okay,
These
My
these
bad.
are all very significant projects.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay,
Thanks, Bill.
thank you, Chris. Moving on then to new business. Jason, reading and approval of claims.
Yes, Bill, earlier today, I reviewed claims totaling $291,282.99. Notable claims include the Allied Spring and Suspension in the amount of $7,560, representing vehicle springs repaired on 2 trucks. Also to Foam Dart Nation in the amount of $1,680, which was representing fees per contract for the Youth Foam Dart Recreation Program. Also to Heinz Concrete Contractors in the amount of $31,502.41, representing payment for additional gutter replacement services on Dartford Road. Also to Rochester Asphalt Materials in the amount of $12,980.16, representing payment for asphalt materials for paving on Ashbourne and Templeton. And finally, to Time Warner Communications, in the amount of $4,308.69, representing payment for internet and T1 services for the month of October per contract. The claims all appear to be in order, and I move that they be approved.
Second, Robin.
Thank you. Any discussion on those? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll on the motion to read and approve the claims.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Next, motion to approve the appointment of Jaden Skeen Foss to the position of laborer in the Highway Department. Robin.
Certainly. As you said, Bill, the next matter seeks to approve the appointment of Jaden Skeen Foss to the position of laborer to the Highway Department. I move that we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second,
Second.
Christine.
Christine got me.
She did. Mike, I know this is one of 3 laborer positions you're hoping to fill.
That is correct. We have 2 more positions. We're starting an interview process. I got approximately 30 resumes to look at tonight. We're going to start the process, make some selections. This was a candidate from multiple candidates. We've interviewed several candidates, probably 5 or 6 candidates for this position. Jaden stood out. He's accepted the offer. Again, he'll be starting on the 29th, just after the holidays. He'll be subject to a 52-week probational period. We're excited. We believe he's going to bring a lot of energy to the group.
Good. Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Jaden Skeen Foss. Any further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeBonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Chris, how about the next one, please?
Bill, the next item is to authorize the supervisor to enter into a memorandum of agreement with the Teamsters of Local 118 for the option to purchase an enhanced dental plan. I move that we adopt the resolution before us.
Second.
Jason.
Thank you, Jason. What this will do is allow those members of that union to buy up at their own expense to participate in the dental plan being offered. So it doesn't involve any direct expense to the town other than, I suppose, some incidental just processing administration costs. Paula, anything you want to add to that?
The town is self-funded, and part of our premium calculation does include those administrative costs. So hopefully this the buy-up is totally funded by the employee choosing this option.
Great, thank you. We have a motion and a second. Further discussion? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. And finally, the last item here, Jason.
Yes, the next matter seeks to authorize the supervisor to execute a renewal agreement with Penflex Inc. for a term of 1 year from November 1, 2021 through October 31, 2022 for service as a third-party administrator for the West Brighton Fire Protection District's Length of Service Award Program. I move we adopt the resolution as prepared by the town attorney.
Second, Robin.
I will say that although this agreement is intended to have a term of 1 year, this relates to volunteers formerly serving through the West Brighton Fire Department to the West Brighton Fire Protection District with the extension of the Henrietta Fire District to begin service in West Brighton as of January 1. Following that effective date, we will be able to go through the process of terminating the length of service award program, making a payout to former volunteers who would have service awards granted to them. So although the contract and the resolution talks about a year, it is our hope and expectation that that process will be over before the intended termination date of October 31st, and we'll be able to terminate the contract early. Time will tell.
Supervisor, if I could, this is Ken Gordon, town attorney. So I did have a conversation with Assistant Finance Director Suzanne Zaso about this very subject in putting together the resolution. And typically when we're renewing an agreement, you won't see the additional language of subject to the approval of the form of the contract by the attorney to the town, because we're simply renewing a contract. Here I've reinserted that language because of the very reasons you just articulated. I do want an opportunity to make sure that the contract does have a clause in it that allows us to terminate early before the end of the year and pay only a pro rata portion of that fee for that calendar year's service.
Great.
We will, however, have likely additional charges under this contract as there is an additional, I think it's $125 per distribution calculation for each member who is ultimately going to receive a distribution upon the dissolution of the length of service award program.
Great, thanks, Ken. That's a good explanation. Any further discussion on this? Hearing none, Dan, please call the roll.
Councilmember DeFazio,
Aye.
Councilmember Werner,
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt,
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado,
Aye.
Supervisor Maley.
Aye. Matters of the supervisor, a couple more things I want to talk about. First, tonight, the chief and I and our captains, Jose Caraballo, Mike Desane, joined Lieutenant Tim Karch, who has been the primary instructor for the Citizens Police Academy, which held their last session of their 2021 academy this evening. It was great to hear the very, very positive feedback that people who participated in the program had about the program and the department. It's been a great opportunity over the years to learn not only about the Brighton Police Department, but also about other agencies involved in the law enforcement and criminal justice system, from the DA's office, the public defender's office. Tonight, I know Judge Karen Morris, our own town justice, was speaking to the members of the class, but Chief, I know the Citizens Police Academy is an integral part of your community policing philosophy. It was specifically included as such in your 203 police reform plan the board adopted earlier this year. So again, job well done, and job well done to everybody who made the Academy possible this year. Later this month, we will be resuming our East and West Brighton community forums. We have not been able to hold those in the last couple of years due to COVID, but they are designed to give residents in East Brighton and West Brighton an opportunity to meet with town staff and elected officials to discuss issues of particular concern in their neighborhoods. Next Monday night, November 15th at 7 p.m., we'll be holding the West Brighton Community Forum at the Recreation Center at Rustic Village. Thank you, Rustic Village, for hosting us again. We will be discussing the upcoming transition of fire service in West Brighton from the Rochester Fire Department to the Henrietta Fire District. We will also be talking about the community survey on a proposed community center and other recreation activities. We want to encourage as many folks from West Brighton and from East Brighton to submit responses to that community survey so that we know we're hearing the voices from all parts of town. So that will be this Monday, the 15th at 7 p.m. at Rustic Village. A week from that night, Monday night, November 22nd, also at 7 p.m., we will be holding our East Brighton Community Forum at the Legacy at Mercy Park. Thank you to the Legacy for hosting us. And for that event, our primary focus will be on that community survey, again, so we can get feedback from East Brighton, but it will be an opportunity for folks in East Brighton, as the West Brighton Community Forum will be, to speak one-on-one with town staff and elected officials. So I look forward to holding those again. Christine, your prediction earlier was accurate. Let's talk about leaf pickup. Leaf pickup is well underway, and it's likely to continue as it has been right through the holiday season, probably right very close to, if not to, the end of 2021. The good news is we haven't had any snow yet of any appreciable amount. Also, good news is a little bit of snow, or even a lot of snow, doesn't mean we're finished picking up our leaves. If we get a heavy storm, it's possible that for a day or two, we won't be able to pick up leaves. But every year, I know people get concerned. The snow falls that first time and they say, oh my goodness, I've still got leaves out front. Are they going to be there all winter? No. Our highway crew will be out picking up those leaves, good weather, bad weather, a little bit of snow on the ground. They're going to pick those leaves up. As always, if you have small quantities, you can containerize them, but come on, let's be realistic. This time of year, very few of us have small quantities of leaves. So we do pick them up by bulk. If you have bulk leaves, particularly if you have a landscaper or a lawn company that blows your leaves out, please make sure they don't put bulk leaves in the street. Please make sure they're on your lawn or on the tree lawn between your sidewalk and the street. When leaves get blown into the street, they become a traffic hazard in many ways. They can, they get wet and they get slippery, and they can cause skids if someone tries to stop. They become hazardous for pedestrians and for cyclists who try to get out of the way. And they can cause drainage issues. We get heavy rains sometimes during the fall. You know, they can clog storm drains and cause street and neighborhood flooding, which also poses safety hazards. So please, however, whether you do it in bulk or whether you do it in containers, please don't put them in the street itself. Maps are available on the town webpage to tell you when the bulk or the containerized crews will be coming around to pick up your leaves. So that's all I have tonight. Matters of the town attorney. Ken.
No, I don't have any other matters tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Matters of the town clerk. Dan.
Nothing this evening.
Matters of the town board. Anybody? Hearing none, then I'll really get to the good news. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Can I have a second, please? Second, Robin, thank you. Heard something there, but in any event, Dan, please call the roll on the motion to adjourn.
Councilmember DePonzio.
Aye.
Councilmember Werner.
Aye.
Councilmember Wilt.
Aye.
Councilmember Corrado.
Aye.
Supervisor Mealy.
Aye. Before we go, I want to thank Allie and Heather again for your important work providing an ASL interpretation of our meeting. Thank you so much. Also want to give everybody a reminder, our next board meeting will be Tuesday night, November 23rd at 7 p.m. So you're not spending that night before Thanksgiving at a board meeting. You're doing whatever the turkey needs or whatever get-togethers you might have with friends and family. So we will see you at our next board meeting again, Tuesday night, November 23rd at 7 p.m. Thank you for participating. Have a great night, everybody. Stay safe. Bye-bye.